on suicide. In line with this day and the statistics between the year 2000 and 2019, Frinwe Crispin spoke with a health expert on what makes people develop suicidal thoughts. She now reports.
Suicide or suicidal behavior occurs when an individual decides to take their life. Generally, it can happen suddenly or it can take some time. Didier Demasoso is a clinical psychologist.
Suicidal thoughts are specific forms of mental health processes which often arise as a result of people experiencing difficult or painful situations. And based on the life history or life experience of the person, they would see dying as the only way they have to feel better or solve their problems.
The expert further reveals that it is possible to manage suicidal thoughts before the individual takes action.
Generally, suicidal ideations could be interrupted if the person remembers that insofar as they are having difficult times, they've also had positive times or positive moments, and they can build on that to get mental strength or to hope for the better. In certain cases, it might be necessary for the person to seek for professional support, meeting a clinical psychologist, for instance, or to talk to someone whom the person feels comfortable with.
According to statistics dated since 2019 from the World Health Organization, men die more by suicide than women worldwide. As a result, the clinical psychologists attest
there is need, therefore, to develop strategies to promote mental health, which is constitutes of both masculine specificities and feminine specificities. In other words, there should be a gendered, responsive perspective while talking or while intervening in the mental health field. Like everything that has to do with mental health, there is need to increase investment to ensure that people who die by suicide should not be stigmatized, as well as their families.
It is worth noting that individuals with suicidal thoughts can get general mental health support by getting to the National Psychological Assistance Cell through the hotline 1510.
We talk education this time around to say that we are 3 days into the new school year, and it is an opportunity for pedagogues to remind parents that following up learners is a shared responsibility. This is due to the fact that most parents often neglect their coaching responsibility after finalizing registration modalities. Glory Ngange spoke to some pedagogues and now reports.
Most parents have forgotten their role of supporting teachers in shaping the future of their own children, an attitude that has been condemned by Julius Neba and Gu Mohammed, all pedagogues.
There are times that you call a parent who is like, "Sir, have I not paid all your fees? Why are you calling me again?" There is what they call the school community, made up of the parent, the learners, the teachers, and the administrators, all in the school environment.
The relationship between parent and teachers should be based on trust, collaboration, and mutual respect to support the child's development, respect the child's autonomy, and maintain professional boundaries.
In case the parents have forgotten, Julius Neba reminds them that teachers cannot completely identify all learners' needs.
There's something that can escape the eyes of the teacher, but will not escape yours as a parent. And when you get that, communicate the school immediately. They should also make the child understand that they are linked with the school environment. Always throw an eye on the report card or the books of your child.
The pedagogue also calls on his colleagues to engage in comprehensive communication with parents.
Knowing fully well that the parent is not a pedagogue, you should be capable of saying, "Your child have a difficulty in reading. The school is doing this. I am the teacher, I am doing this. And you as a parent, I expect you to do this," so that at the end, we will join all these efforts. This child will be intelligent in the middle.
Gu Mohammed further explains how both parents and teachers can work hand in glove to enable a successful school year.
Communicating regularly, sharing information, collaborating on the different strategies, how to handle the children, and respecting each other's roles. Parents and teachers can create a supportive and effective learning environment for the child. This partnership ensures that the child receives consistent and personalized support in their academic, emotional and social development.
In a nutshell, the joint effort of parents and educators is pivotal in ensuring progress, address challenges, and create a supportive learning environment for learners.
Cameroon and China have developed strong partnerships over the years, mostly in the economic domain. However, very little benefit is generated from this collaboration in Cameroon, while China seems to have it all through huge profits with their capital, workforce, and technology. With the Chinese offensive in Africa, experts have been voicing out strategies that Cameroon can implement in order to capitalize on the opportunities that China offers. Jeffrey Tachum reports.
In the face of an intensive Chinese presence in the African economic playground, Cameroon needs to adopt a strategic approach that could maximize its interest while limiting the risk of dependency. Serafenberger is an analyst at the Cameroon Economic Policy Institute.
It is very necessary to capitalize on Chinese experience in agricultural and industrial value chain to develop competitive products for export, which will strengthen the country's position in intra-African and global trade.
With essential resources like capital, workforce, technology, and other tools at hand, China seems to have its way into African gold mines, much to the detriment of our local economy. Economists recommend government authorities to impose a certain number of conditions, among which technology transfer clauses.
Cameroon must impose local content and technology transfer clauses in major infrastructure, mining, and energy projects to ensure the training of the national workforce and the development of a local industrial network.
In addition, Serafenberger believes in the importance of the transformation of major infrastructures into logistic and energy hub, amongst others.
It is very essential to renegotiate the financial and legal terms with Beijing, notably via the ongoing tax convention. In order to protect public revenue, Cameroon must adopt a strategic approach that maximizes its interests while limiting the risk of dependency.
According to statistics provided by the Chinese embassy in Cameroon, trade between the two countries reached a value of 1.8 trillion CFA francs in 2023, making China the first foreign trade partner of the country.
Still on our economic page, the Bank of Central African States (BAC) introduced a fresh batch of coins in April this year, featuring 9 denominations, including a notable newcomer, the 200 francs coin. As Cameroonians navigate this change in currency, our reporter Ngang Nadesh spoke to some of them and gathered their experiences, challenges, and perceptions in this report.
5 months down the lane, Cameroonians are still facing challenges adapting to the new coins introduced by BAC. Faline is one of such persons who is still to get accustomed to the new currency era.
When I was dropping from the taxi driver, I gave him 500, I had to pay 200 and he had to give me back 300. The man gave me back my change and he carried the new coins 225 and gave me thinking that it was 250. Later on that I realized that he carried 225 and he gave me and my taxi money wasn't even complete. I couldn't go to where I was going to.
Jemima, another Cameroonian, recounts a similar experience due to the slight and almost invisible differences in the coins.
The new coin has really been an issue because I gave my mother 500 coin and I gave her 200 coin. So as she's selling now in the store, somebody came to buy and needed change 100 francs. My mother carried a 200 francs coin and gave it like 100. It's after, before she noticed, she gave 200 francs instead of 100.
The similarity between these coins has led to confusion in transactions, creating opportunities for dishonesty and disputes between buyers and sellers, as Precious attests.
The face value of 25 is same as 50 and the face value of 500 coin and 200 coins are also the same. He's giving me 25. So this has really caused a lot and some people are really aware, which promotes dishonesty because some vendors are aware that these coins have same face value, but they trick their clients, especially at night. They give to you and maybe when you go back the next day they'll tell you that no, they gave you by 50, they are not God, that is your loss, stuff like that. So it's really very difficult.
She concludes by highlighting that
in as much as the coins came to ease transactions, but it has also posed a negative effect on commerce because we find ourselves still trying to adapt to this coin, so it's very, very difficult for us to trade freely.
While the new coins introduced by BIAC aim to alleviate coin shortages and facilitate transactions, the slight and almost imperceptible differences between these coins have paradoxically created significant challenges for Cameroonians.
Out of Cameroon, Ethiopia has inaugurated Africa's largest dam to boost the economy and frequent blackouts and support the growth of electric vehicle development in a country that has banned the importation of gasoline-powered vehicles. Officials say the almost $5 billion Grand Renaissance mega dam located on a tributary of the River Nile in the northwest of the country near the border with Sudan will produce more than 5,000 megawatts and is expected to double national electricity generation capacity. Prosecutors at the International Criminal Court, the ICC, yesterday began presenting evidence to support charges against fugitive Ugandan rebel leader Joseph Kony at the court's first ever in absentia hearing, alleging he inflicted horrors that still echo 2 decades later. Some Ugandans have expressed support for the opening of the legal proceedings against the rebel leader, who is facing 39 counts of war crimes and crimes against humanity as leader of the Lord's Resistance Army, which terrorized northern Ugandans for decades. France's new Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu has promised a profound break in substance and not just in form as he took office during a handover ceremony today. His inauguration comes as protests across France underscored the depth of the country's political crisis and seeking Macron's resignation. Police have clashed with protesters under the banner of the Block Everything movement, who say the new prime minister is close to Macron and will thus pursue the same austerity policies of previous centrist administration. And on to sports without transition, the indomitable Lions of Cameroon have complicated their chances of qualifying for the 2026 World Cup in Mexico, Canada, and the USA. The complication follows the team's 1-0 defeat in the hands of Cabo Verde in Praia last evening, which has condemned Cameroon to a timeline of probabilities. An overview of Cameroon's shortcomings in the following report presented by Biwa Brian.
Cameroon's 1-0 loss to Cabo Verde yesterday was likely due to slow, predictable attacking play, a lack of purpose and intensity, and poor tactical decisions by the head coach, such as feeling a less informed striker over a more effective one. Durrell Batinga.
Love to have seen someone like Choupo-Moting brought on earlier on in the game with his fast pace and goal track on club duty. He would have been a good add for Team Cameroon, but that wasn't forthcoming. I'd have loved to see Abubakar come in late in the second 45, but he was chosen to start as usual by Coach Mark Breeze, and likes of Namaso were on the bench.
The decisive goal came from a breakdown in Cameroon's defense, where the Cape Verdean goal scorer muscled the ball from Carlos Baleba at the midfield and powered through the defense to get a clinical finish. A clear goal which, according to Lambert Onana, would have been avoided.
The goal itself, one of the centre-back had to foul the player and get a yellow card. I think Christopher Wall was better positioned to foul him. The pull of shed would have been enough to get him a yellow card and avoid us the situation which we saw. Boyo Moore had to send in a swift tackle and take his red, and we would have managed the game till the end.
In addition, Cameroon's offense was characterized by slow transitions and predictable passes, making it easy for Cape Verde to defend and stifle their efforts. In Durrell's voice, the team displayed a distinct lack of purpose and zero grit, which contrasted with Cabo Verde's hunger and a desire to win, ultimately contributing to the disjointed performance.
The team lacked motivation and commitment in this particular game. They didn't play fast-paced football. They were pretty much composed, giving the impression that they were leading already. And the least opportunity Cape Verde had, they had to show Cameroon how things are done.
Now that the milk is spilled, mathematical calculations suggest that the Lions can still qualify for the 2026 World Cup through 2 modules. The first entails finishing first for a direct spot or finishing second with the good grades to potentially earn a spot among the top second-place teams in the 9 groups. Lawrence Kiddy.
It's true that we still have 2 games to go, but even if we win those 2 games, our destiny is no more in our hands. And I mean, for us to go directly, you'll expect Cabo Verde to lose against Libya away from home and lose against Eswatini, which is practically going to be a miracle.
Notably, the current FIFA international window is over, and the Indomitable Lions will only return in October for their last 2 games against Mauritius Island and Angola.
And in more football news, Northwest Flag Bearers Dream Team have become the first team to qualify for the semi-finals of the ongoing National Interpool. The team punched their ticket after a 3-1 win over Mintak of Septentrion yesterday at the CAF Excellence Center in Bankomo. Biwa Brian interviews the head coach and Numewa Franklin after their qualifications. Take a listen.
The secret, I would say the secret was just that we had just about 1 opportunity the last game. So, and with the quality of players that we have and the preparation that we've done, it was not like normal for us to come and go back at this level. At least we were supposed to cross this stage. So that's why you see the players were all motivated. The extensive motivation that came from other elites. Like the president of Ocean Sport that promised them 1 million that if they win, Itabong is there, always behind us, and President Binga that are always there to motivate us and the rest of the people that cannot call all their names in the region. So I think that alone is enough for the players to fight to the end. We continue to believe in us and continue to support us.
The city of Douala has been chosen to host the 9th edition of the Dixiat in 2026. The agreement was signed between Douala City Mayor Roger Mbassa and Colonel Ahmad Kalkaba Malboum, president of the National Olympic and Sports Committee of Cameroon. This year's competition, as revealed by the president, will have 11 disciplines, including football, basketball, volleyball, among several others. And in handball, the draws for the 46th African Club Championship will take place today in Casablanca at 3 p.m. The competition is scheduled for October the 12th to October the 20th, 2025 in Morocco and will feature 18 teams from 8 African countries, including Angola, Benin, Egypt, Ivory Coast, Ethiopia, Gabon, and Cameroon. Notably, Cameroon will be represented by fat boys and girls in the male and female categories, including Tekasi. Let's now welcome Doreen Mbimi in the studio with a summary of this newscast in the French language. Bon après-midi, Doreen.
Good afternoon, MAPALAH ZITA. Ce 10 septembre est journée mondiale de la prévention du suicide. Cette 25e édition a pour thématique changer le récit sur le suicide, une manière de sensibiliser le grand public à l'ampleur du problème et d'informer sur les actions de prévention à sa portée. Éducation, le suivi parental est un facteur clé dans la réussite scolaire des enfants, un processus par lequel les parents sont invités à surveiller et évaluer les performances de leurs enfants en leur aidant à organiser leur temps et leurs devoirs. Sur la scène internationale en France, c'est officiel. Le nouveau Premier ministre est connu. Il s'agit de Sébastien Lecornu. Emmanuel Macron a trouvé son 5e chef du gouvernement en moins de 3 ans. En un temps record. En sport, football, Coupe du Monde 2026, les Lions du Cameroun, les Lions indomptables du Cameroun se sont inclinés 1-0 face au Cap-Vert hier, mardi 9 septembre 2025 à Praia. Et c'était lors de la 8e journée des éliminatoires. Rendez-vous en octobre prochain pour une autre confrontation, île Maurice, Cameroun.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was what we had for you this afternoon. The 2 p.m. news was technically assisted by Irish Kenwe. Brian Bida took care of the cameras for our Facebook Live. Production assistants Biwa Brian. Script editing and editorial coaching Abel Bella Samari. Central coordination Roger Kiek. Our station manager and general supervision by the Reverend Pastor Bisai Emmanuel Noel. For news editing and presentation, my name is MAPALAH ZITA. Thank you all for your kind attention, and you have an interesting afternoon in the company of programs over Royal FM. Up next is Sports Hour with viewer Brian. Good afternoon again, Brian.
Good afternoon again, MAPALAH ZITA.
Sports are defeat of the indomitable Lions and the probabilities of the ifs and ifs again.
Yeah,
yes, we are now inside Cameroon and the ifs. If this person loses and this person wins,
but
if this other person loses,
the most important part is that there is hope. There is hope.
Okay, there is hope.
If you can remember very well, 2022 World Cup in Qatar, I mean, we qualified at the very last minute in Algeria when we beat Algeria to snap a ticket. It's true that this time it's going to become very difficult, Zita, because we need to win our next 2 games and then pray to God that God, I beg, let Cape Verde not win against Libya as well as Eswatini.
Oh my God, we need Jesus to come down.
But aside from that part, there's equal another part which is apparently very long. We need to be one of the top 4 teams or finish second in the 9 groups. That way we'll play the semi-final in Africa. If we are champions of Africa, we'll go and meet the champion of Asia, the champion of Europe, the champion of America, and so on. The person that wins qualifies.
What a process. Well, ladies and gentlemen, stay with Brian, stay tuned, and stay blessed.